Okay, guys, you might be asking right now, so how can be that simple? So why is not everybody doing that then, all right? And the answer is pretty simple. So the first thing what we've covered is that we understand why market is moving. So what are the impulses like in the retracement? They're inhale and exhale. So we've understand how actually a human beings are working so that we cannot over exhale or not over inhale, and that we transform that knowledge and understanding into a trading. Afterwards, we have covered that obvious swing highs and obvious swing lows and strong impulse like and strong retracement are actually a huge indication and a sign of a predictability. Okay, and these are the things the traders are not understanding. Okay, so for example, when you're on your dead bet, if you're, for example, inhaling like your breathing is not stable, like you inhale like and okay, all around you would think that you're going to die very soon. So you're not predictable. Your being, your living is not predictable. But when you're breathing stable and strong, like okay, like the market, if the breathing is predictable, if the market is predictable and obvious, then we can project and we can trust that there's a strong foundation behind. Even if I'm breathing very strongly, or if I'm breathing shallowly and inconsistently, that tells you a lot about my future, guys. Okay? So basically what we're taking the fundamentals of human beings, of who we are, because the markets are driven by the humans. We understand them from the deepest layer, and then we put that into trading. This is how this strategy was designed. All right? And the bigger picture, the daily and the weekly time frame, gives us that edge to not be too caught up in the drama, in the noise of all the people. Right? So like imagine you would be like, I mean, it's not the best analogy, but imagine that you would be micromanaging a person, for example, ill person that you would be micromanaging and spending all day, all night long with him just for the, I mean, it is, of course, you're caring, but you're too caught up, you're too emotionally in to even help him. You need to give him a space, time for recovery, for rest, okay? But some people, when their relatives or are very sick, they're just non-stop all in, just what do you want, I want, and they get anxious and just leave me alone, I need some time to rest. Okay, that's it. Okay, so basically and this is the analogy for lower time frame trading. Okay, so with lower time frame trading, you're constantly into like, let's do that, okay, this and that, okay, it's always constant movement. But if you simply leave the person to rest and to just observe him from the outside of the room through the window when he's sleeping, and you are calm and you trust and you observe it, then there's a more stability, there's more, I know it's not the best analogy, guys, but if you are already talking about a patient and breathing, etc., with the daily and weekly time frame, we see a big picture. We are not too caught up in the numbers, etc., like analyzing each number, googling it, etc. We're observing it from a different point of view. We are looking at a person as a soul, as a being. Even if he's in such a condition, we understand the situation. We are mature, and daily and weekly setup is just that, guys. Okay, so this is why this strategy works. And it might sound, from technical point of view, it sounds very like basic, like whatever, but it is much more than that. It is much deeper than that. All right? And also, if you think it is too basic, then please project yourself in the next 5, 10, 15 years, and you will see that the things which are simple, obvious, and logical are the only things which last for a long period of time. if you would have a car which would be so complex that you would like need like 1 hour to prepare a car for each drive, you would probably take a bus. Okay, so what we have to do in our lives is we have to simplify it. So when I open a chart, I want to know immediately what I'm looking for. I'm looking for solid and obvious ABC setups, 1 to 3 setups with obvious swings, with obvious impulse like and retracement. I just simply draw a Fibonacci on this impulse like and retracement, and I'm looking for congruence or alignment of these specific numbers, and this is my entry, and that's it. Okay, if you feel a desire to have a more complex system, then I must disappoint you that this is path to failure. Okay, and I'm not talking to you about that from material. I mean I was experiencing that. I was having such an intense and complex system that it's hard to believe. But the more I've realized is that I cannot execute this complex trading strategy for like few days in a row. There's so much variables. There's so much adjustment. There's so much criteria to look for. We cannot. I mean, we are human beings. We're more subtle. We're more sensitive. We're not like a robots. All right. If you want to have like 7 indicators, look for 17 different things and pay attention to everything, then you build a robot. Okay, but the problem is that the robot is not understanding the human behavioral, like we were explaining, like breathing in, breathing out. You cannot teach that to a robot. Okay, so this is why we keep things simple, so that we can execute it day in and day out without any doubt and frustration. Okay, so that's it, guys. I hope you understand the whole context behind and the depths of it. All right. So that's it, guys, and let's move to the next video, guys.